All right, today we are going to be talking about 1.6 perimeter and area. There's a couple things that I want to talk to you about first. First of all, the perimeter is the sum of the length of the sides. So if, say, you had this was 7, that means up on top that would also be a 7. Let's say this was 3 and this was 3. All you have to do for perimeter is you add the length, 7 and 7. You'll also add the width, 3 and 3, okay? So does anybody know what the perimeter of that rectangle would be? What would it be? Tell me.
16.
Not 16.
No, 24.
What'd you say? 20, okay? Listen, you do the top 2 times the length, so that'd be 14, and then do 2 times the width. That'd be 6. Okay? You're adding them all together, okay? Let's look at the square. Let's imagine that this square was 3 inches, okay? Every single side is 3 inches. For a perimeter, you're basically adding the outside, okay? So this is 3 plus 3, which is 6 plus 3 more, 9 plus 3 more, 12, okay? So that would be 12 inches. What you're going to need to do for this, though, is memorize the formulas, okay? So the first step, the formula for a rectangle, the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. The perimeter of a square is 4 times the side length, okay? So those are going to be formulas you want to have memorized. Now let's talk about the area. The area is the space inside of a shape. So beforehand, when we talked about the rectangle, we were saying that you wanted to find perimeter. Perimeter is the outside. The area does not have to do with the outside. The area has to do with all the stuff that's in the middle, okay? So there's a new formula. If you're finding the area of a rectangle, it would be area equals length times width. If you're finding the area of a square, it would be s squared, because you're basically going to be multiplying. It's like length times width, but you're multiplying the sides together, okay? So those are 4 formulas you're going to want to have memorized. Let's go to the next slide. It's asking us to find the perimeter. What I've done here is I've drawn you a picture of a rectangle, all right? It's sometimes easier if you can just visualize something. So which one is the 5, the top and the bottom, or the left and the right sides? The top and the bottom. You know that because it's a little bit longer. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, those are both going to be 5 feet. That means my width on the sides is going to be 2 feet. So let's go ahead and start off with the formula. What is the formula for finding perimeter of a rectangle?
You do 2 times 5 plus 2.
What's the formula? Always start with the original formula.
P equals 2L plus 2W.
2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, now we'll do the plug-in part. Okay, so what are you plugging in?
P equals 2 times 5 plus 2 times 4.
You are correct. Not 2 times 4, 2 times
2 parentheses 2.
2 times 2, okay, because the width is 2. Now let's keep working underneath it. Michael, what's 2 times 5?
4. Which one? 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10.
Good job. And what's 2 times 2?
4.
Okay. Asia, what's my answer?
14.
14 what?
Feet.
14 feet. Good job. Remember, with perimeter and area, you will always have to label your units, okay? So the perimeter we found out is 14 feet, okay? When you're doing a problem like this, please make sure you always start with your formula right there at the top. Show me all of your work and then box in the answer. Now, when we said before, the perimeter is the sum of the length of all those sides, okay? So look right here. Let's see if we could do this together. What is 5 plus 5? 10 plus 2 plus 2. 14. Is that what our answer was down there? Yes. All we did was we added the length of the sides, but a simple formula for that is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, okay? Let's go to problem number, letter B. Help me out with problem B. What's my formula for finding the perimeter of a square? P equals 4s. Good job. Will you continue doing it for me, please? What should I do? Instead of P equals 4 times s, what am I going to plug in for the s? Okay, so what do I write? P equals
4 times 3.
Excellent job. And what's my answer?
12.
Okay, so here's where it comes a little bit right now. 12 what?
Centimeters.
12 centimeters. Okay, it's not centimeters squared because we're still talking about the perimeter. Okay, so once again, Giving yourself a visual, because we've drawn a little box here. Why don't we just go ahead and label it? This is 3, 3, 3, and 3. Remember, the perimeter is the sum of all the side lengths. So if we added it up, let's see what we get. What's 3 plus 3? Plus 3 more? Plus 3 more. And notice that's exactly what we got for our answer, okay? So once again, that's a great way to double check. You have a formula, but remember, adding the sides will also give you the answer for the perimeter. We're going to practice finding the area. Okay, when we were finding the perimeter, I gave you a picture of what shape we were looking at. There is still a way, just by looking at this, that you can tell whether it is a rectangle or a square. Looking at problem A, do you guys think that's a rectangle or a square? A rectangle. How can you tell that for sure?
Because it's like, it's a length and it's a length.
Because there's a length and a width that are not equal to each other. Remember, a square has all equal sides, okay? So to help us visualize, let's just go ahead and draw ourselves a rectangle, because we know problem A is a rectangle. All right, then sometimes it helps us just to figure out and kind of label what the sides are. All right, the length is 5 inches, the width is 3 inches. Who remembers what the area formula is for a rectangle? What is it? A equals length times width. Always start with your formula. All right, would you help us out? Go ahead and plug it in. A equals 5 times 3, and what's my answer?
A equals 15 inches squared.
A equals 15 inches squared. Thank you for remembering that, because if you remember, whenever you're finding area, that's how many square inches is inside. It's not asking for the outside sum, it's asking for all the space that's inside of that rectangle, okay? So make sure every time that you have area, you're going to also make sure that you have squared whatever the units are. Who feels comfortable and wants to do the next one for us? Carlos, help me out. What kind of a shape do I have here? A square. How can you tell it's a square? It has equal sides for all of them, okay? So all around that, each of them are 10 feet. What's the formula I'm going to start off with for area of a square? Very good. A equals s squared. Okay, now let's plug it in. Instead of s squared, what will you have? A equals 10 squared, and what is 10 squared? 100 what?
Feet squared.
100 feet squared. Good job remembering to square your feet, okay? Now, some people have asked, is it okay to write 100 square feet? I am okay with it either way, because that means the same thing, okay? So you can put square feet or you can put feet squared. Either one's fine. Any questions on how to find the area of a square?
No.
All right, skip a line in your notes and let's go on to number 3. Number 3 says find the perimeter and the area of the rectangle with the given dimensions. So I want you to always be careful when you are looking in your instructions to see what it's asking for. Here it's asking for 2 things. Not only do I have to find the perimeter, I've also got to find the area, okay? So let's look at the first one. It's 11 inches by 6 inches. The instructions tell us, or you can tell just by looking at it, what kind of a shape do I have? It's a rectangle. I want you guys to draw yourselves a rectangle. Okay, this helps us to visualize what it is that we're working with. Let's start off with the perimeter because it asked us to find perimeter first in our problem. What is, help me out, Emma, what's the formula for a perimeter of a rectangle?
Equals
2 times the length plus.
plus 2 times the width.
Good job. All right, Emma, help me out. What should I write next? Let's plug in those numbers. Plus. Very good. Now let's keep working underneath it. What is 2 times 11?
22.
What's 2 times 6?
12.
Okay, so now you know all that's left is the operation 22 plus 12. What is that?
34
34 what?
inches.
Please always remember you must put units. Should it be inches squared?
No.
No. Okay, now remember with perimeter, I can go back to my original shape. I could add them together. I know 11 plus 11 is 22, plus 6 is 28, plus 6 more is 34. So then you know you added all the length of the sides, okay? Am I done with problem number 3?
Yes.
No. What do I have to do?
Find the area.
You have to find the area. Jakari, what is the area for this shape? You are correct. A equals length times width. Now plug those numbers in for me. A equals what? 11 times 6. And what is 11 times 6? Okay, now let's add some units to that. 66 what? Not plain old inches, we're finding area. Square inches or inches squared, okay? Now, one thing I want to point out to you, you can look at your answer. You can see here it says P, so it's standing for perimeter is 34 inches, and then it says A, so I can easily identify which one is the perimeter and which one is the area. Any questions on number 3? All right, for number 4, we've got a story problem. This is what it says. Your rectangle bedroom has a length of 11 feet and a width of 8 feet. What is the area of your bedroom? Once again, what shape is it telling us the bedroom is?
Rectangle.
It's a rectangle, so help yourself out. Draw yourself a rectangle. You know that the width is 8 and the length is 11. I want you guys to try to do this on your own and stand beside your chair once you think you know the answer. Okay, as I just walked around and looked at a lot of your problems, I saw a lot of people did the same thing. If I go back through and I double check my question, this is what it says. What is the area of your bedroom? As I glanced at a lot of your papers, I saw a lot of you told me what the perimeter was. I am so happy you can find perimeter. However, I am not interested in perimeter for this one. Instead, I'm looking for the area. So what is the formula for finding area of a rectangle, class?
A equals length times width.
A equals length times width. If you did not start with a formula, you must put that in there, okay? This is, every one of these problems always has to start with what the formula is. Then you're going to plug in your substitutions. Instead of length times width, what am I going to plug in? 11 times 8. Okay, what is 11 times 8?
88.
Now, I saw a lot of people who told me that it was 88 feet. It is not 88 feet. What should it be?
88 feet squared.
Okay, I even had some people who told me it was inches squared or yards squared. Always look at the units. Go back to the original problem where you can see here it says that it's in feet, and when it asks for the area, you will always make sure you square your units, okay? Are there any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I want to talk to you about your homework for tonight. Okay, for your homework, typically I'm only going to give you 10 problems, but today you'll see something is a little bit different at the end of this assignment, okay? It's telling you to just start off with problem 8, and then you're doing 16 through 22. You only have to do the evens. Then you'll do number 28 and number 30. This right here is the one thing that looks a little different than normal. There's a parentheses there. That does not mean you have to do problem number 7. What that's telling you is there are only 7 homework problems tonight, okay? So you do not have to do 10 problems tonight. There's only going to be 7 problems. So I want to go over a few review problems that you're going to need to know for your quiz coming up, okay? So let's look at the first one. First problem, tell me whether or not it's a solution, okay? So when you have a problem like this, you're always going to start off with the original problem, and then you're going to plug things in, all right? What should I plug in for my y? 4, okay? So now, once again, I'm working down. Let's do this right here. What's 4 plus 5? 9. I bring it down. Does 9 equal 9? Yes. So when I have asked, is this a solution? Yes or no? Yes, it is. Okay, let's go to the next one. Problem 2 on the side. This is going to tell you to evaluate the expression. This is using PEMDAS. Do you guys remember our order of operations? What does PEMDAS stand for? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Tell me one more time. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What does the P stand for?
Parentheses.
Looking at this problem, do I have any work to do in parentheses? What is it?
7 plus 5.
7 plus 5, so I'm going to underline it. What is 7 plus 5?
13.
12.
What is 7 plus 5, guys?
12.
12, okay? So now I drop everything else down. Okay? Do I have any more work to do inside of the parentheses?
No.
No. Notice I do have parentheses right here, but there's no work to do inside of it. Okay? What do you think my next step is that I need to do?
Add 4 plus 3.
Okay, I have to add 4 plus 3. Let's just try this out. If I add 4 plus 3, what do I have?
7.
7. I bring down my 12.
49.
What's 7 times 12?
48.
49. Wait, hold on.
Guys, what's 7 times 12? 84. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is not the correct answer. Can somebody help me out with what went wrong? We have to use the order of operations. Okay? If you don't use order of operations, you will get the wrong answer every single time. What went wrong?
We had to do the left first, and that would be 3 times 12.
Okay, I'm going to erase and go back to here. I was told to do 4 plus 3. Okay? What else is still left to do on that line?
12.
That's 12.
What do I have to do with the 12? If you have parentheses next to another number, what do I have to do to it? Multiply. Think about PEMDAS. Does M multiplication come before or after addition?
Before.
It comes before it. So I have to multiply this before I can ever try to add numbers together. Okay, Landon, what's 3 times 12? Okay, so then bring everything else down. Asia, what's 4 plus 36? 40. Okay, do you guys remember that's very different than the other answer, 84, we got before. If you do not use your order of operations, you will not get these correct. Okay, so make sure you're going through PEMDAS in order to help you. Let's try another one. This one right here is mental math. I want you to use your head and not your calculators to try to come up with what number divided by 6 equals 8? Katie, what do you think the answer is?
48.
Okay, she says 48. Do you guys agree or disagree? Okay, I heard some agree and some disagree. Here's a way you can check this out. This right here says divide. What's the opposite of divide? Multiply. So what you can do is you can multiply these two numbers together and that will give you this answer. What is 6 times 8? 48. So does she have it correct? Yes. She does. Okay, excellent job. Let's go on to the next one. 9x when x equals 7. So this is one of those plug it in, all right? Instead of 9 times x, what should I write?
9x. 9 7.
Okay, you don't have to say 9 parentheses 7, just tell me 9 times 7, okay? Then Michael, what is 9 times 7? Thank you very much, Mike. 63. Okay? There's one last slide that I want to review with you that's something you're going to want to know. Evaluate the power. Does anybody remember when you have something to the 0 power, what number it will always equal? What do you think, Alex?
0.
That is incorrect. I want you guys to put it in your calculators because it does not equal 0. There's a lot of people who think it does because there's a 0 there. What do you think? 1. Every time you have something raised to the 0 power, it always equals 1. All right, I want you guys to look at that button that I showed you on your calculator where you can find the exponents button. I want you to plug that in for me, please. 20 to the 0 power and see if you get a 1. Let's go to the right-hand side, problem B, 10 to the first power. That simply means I have a 10, and I'm going to repeat it one whole time. There it is. What's my answer? 10. Anything to the first power, if you remember, we talked about this, will always equal itself, okay? So back to what we just went over. Problem C, 15 to the 0 power. The answer is 1, because every time something's raised to the 0 power, it's always 1. Final one, 7 to the first power. 7, okay? So this should help you a little bit to review for your upcoming quiz on Monday. We will do more review over Chapter 1 tomorrow, okay? So this is everything you need to know for today.